Hey everybody, welcome to the Weather Command Center here in Southwest Ohio. I decided to do these short updates on not only tropical weather but eventually other weather. And I know that a lot of people have not been able to watch my live streams over on Twitch because of the time of day. It's just not possible for them. So this will help them out as well to stay tuned to what's going on. And tonight we're going to be talking about Tropical Storm Melissa. Forecasted to be a major hurricane by possibly Sunday afternoon and into Monday. So I want to go ahead and do a short little update, and we'll see how this goes. Hopefully I'll be able to do more of these with your help. So let's take a look over here on the famous Monitor 6 of mine. And Melissa is still only 50 mile per hour winds. The pressure has dropped from 1,003 last night to 1,000. Now, earlier today, it was moving west at 2 miles per hour, which is extremely slow. And then it went west-northwest. Then it went back west. Now it's back west-northwest. That's 2 miles per hour. Now, this is significant because the slower it gets, the more it upwells. But where it's at is very deep warm waters. So it can upwell more warm waters and still get stronger. So we're not too worried about the problem with it moving so slow. But it is going to give it more of a chance, and I'll zoom in on the cone here, that it's going to get stronger. And as you can see here, Sunday and Monday afternoon, it's showing major hurricane. Actually, Sunday forecast is 115 mile per hour wind. By Monday afternoon, 120. So this is, again, is very warm, deep water in this area. And notice from my live stream last night, for those of you that got to watch it, it's turned west like the Euro showed, and I'm going to show you the models as well. The GFS is still kind of being a little funky with it wanting to turn, but as of right now, we're considering it not turning north for quite a while, and the latest model runs on Canadian and Euro and most of the AI models that it's going to continue to go west. Now, I want to show you this because, and I'll freeze this a moment. Here's Melissa's storms, okay? But notice where the spin is here, and it's still, not completely filling in, although it's starting to get a lot deeper cloud cover over on the western side of center. But we're still dealing with some wind shear, and the upper level winds are roughly about 30 knots, and they're going this direction, and that's the reason why this thing's all tilted off to the east side of it. As it gets in the next day or so, these winds are going to die down in the upper levels. Now, most of the winds over here, you can see, is going from east to west, easterly winds, and that's what's helping this thing to kind of move around. Here, I want to show you the past track of this thing. As you can see, it's kind of jig-jog. It even went backwards and then back east again. And it's going to continue to act this way, being that slow as it strengthens. Actually, the latest update here on this representation, 130 mile per hour forecast by Monday afternoon. That's up from earlier of 120. So I want to show you the global and hurricane models. And boy, did this change from my stream last night. Now you can see a lot of the models has this thing eventually turning west. Very few of these, this red one here, that's a GFS, or no, that's an AVNI. But that's about the same place that the GFS was showing it. But all of these different models, including the hurricane models, very few of them have it turning north. This pink one over here, that one gets interesting. If it goes that far west and then turns, we could actually get some effects in Florida. And I kind of talked about that some last night. But intensity now, most of the forecast models has it at Cat 3 to Cat 4. There's a couple wacky ones at Cat 5, including the HFBI at 195 knots, Cat 5. That's crazy. I think that one's out of whack. I generally don't pay much attention to that one anyway. So let's go ahead and look at the shortwave satellite. And if this is from yesterday up until now, and you can see how she's really filled in. You watch the beginning of this video, and it's really just storms are just all over the place and not consolidating, and now it is. And again, the actual center is over here on the leading edge. You can see some clouds going from west to east on the upper levels, where the low-lying clouds are going southwest and rotating around. So let's take a look at the forecast models. Now this is the GFS, and the current time, it's right there. It's not real strong. You can see it's kind of not fully organized, which is correct. And as it goes along, it starts intensifying. But see, the GFS still has it going over Haiti and then falling apart. Now, why would the models show that it's falling apart right there? These islands have extremely tall mountains. I haven't looked at all of these. I can't remember Dominican Republic that I showed last year, but I know that Jamaica has got over 7,000 foot tops, and that's pretty common amongst this area right here. But I really don't believe the GFS is right. Now let's take a look at the Euro. Here it is again. And the Euro has it coming up and kind of meandering around a little bit, real close to Jamaica. Now, they're going to probably see at least tropical storm force winds as it matures, and tons of rain. And you can see how she kind of moves around, and then she starts getting really strong. When you see this black in here, that's really strong hurricane. By the way, this is 5,000 foot vorticity signature. But you can see she heads west. And the key thing is these storms across the U.S., like I talked about last night, create a trough in the jet stream or a dip in the jet stream. The problem with trying to forecast this beyond Monday, Tuesday next week is how strong is the winds going to be down here in that dip, and how far south does it go, which will grab a hold of it and take it away. But I'll go ahead and move this out. Now this has got it very strong going right over the eastern part of Cuba and going out to sea. Now, these lines of equal pressure, these black lines, I want to take a look for one at 200 millibar winds. Here's Melissa right over the western part of Jamaica. Here's your really strong jet stream winds. So let me back this up to about where it is now. And see all this white area in here? That means there is no shearing going on, no upper level winds to shear it. Now, this is by Friday, okay? And that means it will really start to get very strong. You can see there's no westerly winds. There's a little bit of a high pressure right here, clockwise motion. But that's kind of probably the reason why she's going to meander. And then here comes this dip in the jet stream from one of the storms that's coming in across the Pacific Ocean. Now, this is Tuesday, and this is showing that it's dipping enough that it's going to grab it. Now, the key thing is how strong is these blue areas here? How strong is that wind in the jet stream? If it's weaker, it's not going to grab a hold of it. It won't hardly affect it. But that's what they say is going to take off by next Thursday, October 30th. So let's backtrack this up. Let's take a look at it, the Canadian model. Same thing, looking at the jet stream. And the jet stream here on the Canadian model by this weekend has this jet stream really flat west to east. Where's the dip? It ain't there. And look what happens to Melissa. She goes further west, almost into Honduras, and then finally, and this gets interesting, folks, this dip is going to try to start pulling it. That needs really strong winds across Florida. Now, this is the upper level, 200 millibar. And see, it finally brings it out. Now, this could be critical for South Florida. So, we'll have to wait and see. Now, there's also a possibility. Let me change region on this. This gets really interesting. Let's just go North Atlantic. So here's Melissa down here. And let's take a look at what the jet stream does as Melissa goes across Cuba. Look at this big dip here. Could that pull it into the East Coast? It's very possible. There's been some top meteorologists in tropical weather that has kind of hinted that it might just do that. Look at that. Right into the Northeast coast. Right there is Melissa. So, could be one of these storms are strong enough to just suck it right into the coast. Will that happen? Who knows? It's way too far out. This is back to the Euro. And the Euro has the really strong jet. That would keep it from heading the coast. You can see it just kind of skirts away. So let's take a look at the EPS ensemble right here. Let's go ahead and switch this back to Western Atlantic. And I'll just go ahead and play this and watch all the different members, how this kind of just goes crazy. It does have most of the ensemble members having it coming over here before the dip in the jet stream does take it off to sea. But one thing I'm curious about is where does it go from here? It's all over the place. But what I would like to show you is Weather Labs. Look at these tracks right here that has it coming into the East Coast, possibly. Now, this is a maybe. It's way too far out. But already, the AI models is already starting to pick up that it possibly could come in and strike the East Coast. Now, it's only going to be a tropical storm, according to this one, model number 7. And, tropical storm force, still, that's not too nice. But let's go ahead and zoom back in and watch where this thing goes. Right there is where it's at right now. And you can see it's going to zigzag and go all over the place until it gets a real steering mechanism. Right there, it's showing a Cat 2, Cat 3 before it turns. But, and I'll stop it right there. because this is clear out to next Wednesday. But look at all these other tracks here that's got it going further west before it turns. And these right here is ones I'm keeping an eye on. Of course, if it goes over Cuba at that point, it's really going to get undercut by the mountains. But how much influence does it have, at least in rain and waves, as it gets this close to Florida, as it goes across the Bahamas? So, everybody, I hope that was informative. I hope you loved it. Let me know in the comments or over on my Discord, and I would greatly appreciate it. Even if you didn't like it, let me know what I can do better. It's been a long time since I posted videos like this over on YouTube. So be sure now, hit the subscribe button if you're not used to YouTube subscribe doesn't mean it costs you money. It's free. It's the same thing as Twitch's follow button, okay? So don't get confused with that. I wish they'd change that. Also give it a thumbs up, and be sure and leave me a comment, and we'll go from there. I'll try to get some more of these out. I plan on doing at least one of these again tomorrow. We'll try to do one most likely at a 2 o'clock update, and then later on the next updates coming up, especially if there's a lot of changes. And we got to keep a close eye on this to see how it's going to affect the U.S. And the Bahama Islands. I know there's still people vacationing down there. So thank you for watching. And be sure, if you want to donate, if you like what I do, right there is the links that you can do a direct donation. Every bit of that helps me to keep all of that equipment up and running. So until next time, stay safe and watch out for my next live stream or these updates.